Electronic deliverables. To get the file that we need for our electronic deliverables that displays our horizontal and vertical alignment information, along with start and stopping stations, we're going to open up a civil geometry file. The civil geometry file pretty much contains all the horizontal and vertical information for our project. So we're going to go ahead and open that. You can see most of the geometry is in this file. There's a ramp 2 in our current file. You will also notice there's a route 50 here. That route 50 is in the plan.dgn. Horizontal and vertical alignments need not be in the current file. It can actually be referenced in. The only thing that must have is a horizontal alignment name. It's got to also have names for all the vertical profiles that you want to show up in your report. So as long as they are named, they'll show up. So if you want existing ground for a particular one, you can see the active profile is Route 50 PR, so you just want to make sure that you have a Route 50 EX named in that particular alignment, and then once it is, it will show up on the report. The report is specifically generated for MoDOT to place in the electronic deliverables. So if I were to go over to the tasks right now and look at the reports, click on Horizontal Geometry Report. Let's look at the Route 50 that's right here. So I'll just left click on the Route 50 and accept it. And that's the only one that I want to use out here, so I will right click in a blank area. The next thing it's going to ask is where you want to start and stop at. Just put check marks here in the lock to start and lock to end, and I'm going to have 1 foot intervals. 1 foot intervals don't matter in this case. We are looking at the beginning and ending stations for this. So go accept each of these prompts. Accept the start, accept the end, accept the 1 foot interval. Then we're going to go do all the profiles that are associated with that. So just left click to accept that, and it's going to open up the Bentley Civil Report browser, and it's going to pick up the default template or style sheet that we have on the left, which is Horizontal Alignment Review. The one we have created for electronic deliverables is the MoDOT Horizontal and Vertical Alignment Review. If you left click on it, it's going to show you the information we are requiring for the electronic deliverables. So for this one, we've got a horizontal alignment named Route 50. We've got a couple of vertical alignments here, Route 50 PR and Route 50 EX, and then we've got the beginning and ending stations for that route. The one thing to take a look at in this report is up in the project. It has got default written up there. That information comes from the default window or view or model that you have selected out there on the screen. If you want that to take on the job number, what you would want to do is go rename that default model to the job number, close the file, check it in, reopen the file, and it will change to that project number. Let's show how to do that real quick. We'll close out of the report. And the way that you can do that right now, it says default there. We can go to the model. In the models, we've got default. We can right click on default and do a rename. In this case, we can give it the job number J5P0100 and enter that in. Once we're done with that model portion of it, we can close the model dialog box. If you double click on the banner for the view number 1, default, it will go ahead and change that name. This is really the only place the name changes. The report, if we run it again, will say default. So we have to close out of the drawing. When it asks you to, go ahead and check in the file. Then we're going to double click on that civil geometry file and go right back into it in order to see that change. So once the file reopens, you will notice that view 1 now says J5P0100. So just go back over to the tasks and go back to the reports. This time we're going to create the report for several alignments to show you how that works. Go out and pick on the bighorn alignment, which happens to be in this file, and we're going to pick on ramp 1, which is in the plan file. And this is ramp 3, also in the plan file. Ramp 2 and Ramp 4 are in the current file, so we'll pick on these in here. Then we have the Route 50, and we'll go ahead and left click on it. Pick all of those alignments, and once you do that, all you have to do is go right click out in a blank area to say that I'm done selecting alignments. Then we're going to go do all the profiles again. So I'm going to left click to let it create the report with all the profiles with all the alignments. It's going to do the same thing. It's going to go pull up the report browser for us and give us the default option over on the left. Click on the MoDOT horizontal and vertical alignment review. And you can see now over in the window on the right, we've got the J5P0100 at the top for our project, and it's got the file name that it came from, and when it was revised. Also down below, we have all the horizontal and vertical alignment for the ones that we selected, which is what we're requiring for the electronic deliverables. So once you get to this point, depending on what you have on your machine, if you have Acrobat PDF installed on your machine, you can pretty much just right click in that window on the right, and convert to PDF will be one of the options here. And you can create a PDF file and put that in ProjectWise. If you don't have that, what we're suggesting is under the File pull-down menu, you can do a Save As. And down at the very bottom of that Save As window, choose an XLS file as your format. So if you don't have PDF, you can still save it as XLS. That seems to be a really nice format for that. We're going to name this the job number underscore alignments underscore profiles .xls. And then we're going to copy that down into the file name. And then all we have to do is at the top tell it where to save it. So we hit the change button up there, and we're going to go save it in the project location. Ours is in the data folder, so we save it in the data folder. And once that's filled out, you're able to create the XLS file. So click to save that. And if you want to see what it looks like, you'll go back into ProjectWise, hit F5 to refresh the screen, and then you should have the J5P0100 underscore alignments underscore profiles.xls. We can double click to see what that looks like. Typically you get this where it says it doesn't really match the source information. That just means it's the style format. We can go ahead and say yes on that, and then you'll get a very nice looking spreadsheet. It has all the information posted in there with all of your horizontal and your vertical information we require for electronic deliverables.